So day 10, all right? I love this day. Day 10, 30. We're getting there. All right. This is important. This is kind of where this is where everything falls apart. This is where there isn't enough talk. All right? It has to do with communication. It has to do with delegation. But it also has to do with like task management, managing expectations, protocol, communications, all of it. All right? Here's how I look at every piece of technology. All right? Every piece of technology has, it has a function, like it's a tool. But then it has its activation, like its trigger, which is you opening it, you using it, or, we will hope to get to the point in which it's automatic. But what I'm saying is that you can open it and use it whenever you want, right? And you can engage other people inside the same platform or using the same technology whenever you fucking want, right? So here's what I'm saying. The amount of wasted bandwidth and the amount of unmanaged expectations because you don't have a protocol inside your institution which indicates when to use what software and how is basically why you have too many people doing the exact same thing, or when everybody has to jump immediately to find a piece of information for one person, right? Or when the process breaks down or the workflow breaks down because they're waiting on the information from someone's brain that isn't inside the database or inside whatever. It's just not there. So here's how I'm putting this. I'm putting this out there. By figuring out a protocol, like a trigger-based method to using all of this technology in your institution will change your fucking life. All right? You can quote me, tweet me, whatever. Here's why. So we're going to do, I might need 2 days for this because it's important. Let's say you've modeled your business. Let's say you have all these SaaS platforms, all right? Let's say that these SaaS platforms, like maybe you didn't have them before, but they are maybe new to you. Some of these are new to you, okay? That's great. But there is going to be some tools out there that are not archaic, but have been around as long as, say, the internet technologies in the internet and anything to do with software has existed with your computer and your phone, correct? Okay. Those would be, as I always like to throw Microsoft under the bus, probably Word, Excel, and Outlook. So we'll just say email, Excel, and Word, okay? Why are they convenient? Well, they always work, right? They always do what they're supposed to. Email does what it's supposed to. You compose an email and you send it to somebody, and then they read it and reply. In terms of Excel, you can save multiple Excel documents with whatever you want in them that looks like it behaves like a spreadsheet, but it might be something that should be a database, but you don't care because, just save and create a new one and it does the exact same thing it's supposed to every single time. And then if we need to write a document, I don't know how, then it's Word, right? Now, so that's a word processor, that's a spreadsheet, and then there's an email client or just email function in general. Those tools, right? What you'll do in your mind when you have your modeled new app stack is you will just put those in the toolbox with the app stack, right? And so now what you can do is you can always have a method that isn't what the app stack is designed to do to solve the problem. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you don't have to follow the rules of this awesome ecosystem that's been built for you completely, because you can always, resort to Excel or a spreadsheet, like a word processor, or email to like do something that the new ecosystem may do already for you, or because you don't have a protocol in place. All right? So if you don't have a protocol in place, that's why people use email like a fucking battering ram, or like a woodpecker, or like tennis, because it's called email tennis when you back and forth, and then you silo things. Like, man, come on. There's got to be a better way, right? Yes, of course there is. And the better way is that you need to have a protocol, and you have to use the new technologies, the new tools, and follow why they're designed the way they are. Okay? Like, say, for example, anything that's singular file based or silo communication is fucking dead. And it's a bandwidth vampire. It's a waste of time. Because like there's a time and a place for email, but there's also a time and a place for chat-based project management communication, whether that be Teams, Microsoft Teams, whether that be one of the Google, something with Google, or whether that be Slack. Done. Why? Well, the protocol says that when you design this protocol, it says when to engage, why, and to who. Instead of just everybody all the time, let's figure it out together. Everybody all the time, let's figure it out together. Check your phone every second. Check your phone every second. If you don't, we're all fucked. If you don't, we're all fucked. You hear me? Because that's exactly what happens in most institutions, right? Everybody's on call 24/7. And they also stop productivity if they're unavailable for like a minute. Because that 1 minute could be when someone else in the operations is asking for something, right? So if they stall that 1 minute, that's the same minute that you're doing something else or unavailable, the whole train comes to a fucking halt. You see what I mean? So if you outline like a protocol, a communication protocol that shows when to use what and why, basically, and to who, like as a flow chart, like I said, a process, a workflow, whatever, then you will be using email much less. Okay? Much less. I'm not saying that you're not going to communicate. However, remember, inside the SaaS platform, it indicates where you are and what you're doing. They're all collaborative, right? So it knows, if you know how to read the dashboard of the SaaS platform for whatever its job is in whatever corporate area, however it communicates, you don't have to ask, because you can see like who's done what. You can see avatars. You can see what's going on. So by visually seeing these things in the SaaS platform, you don't have to ask. And I've said this many times before. It's like you can check first, and chances are you don't have to ask second, because it's there, right? It's there. And then you're inundating your entire team with questions and email. Or here's even better, by changing the way that you use your human interaction with the software. That will make your life better. And then also, here we go, that's where you start to get some sort of exit strategy, if that's what you're trying to do, if you're trying to become an owner and not an owner, all right? Because now everything's taken out of your brain, right? There's a protocol in place, and only you need to be notified of things when you need to be notified. There's no reason to CC and forward emails all over the place, unless you're a fucking disorganized fool and you don't know how to use other things, so you use your email as your everything, which is just a sophisticated junk drawer, that has everything in it. And so you're using your inbox as project management, as a calendar, it basically is everything. Your Outlook is everything. It doesn't necessarily have to be Outlook, but you're improperly using technology, the tool that is technology these days, because it's easier for you, not easier for everybody. And that's where I think an owner stops learning, stops being a digital leader in their institution, because they found that the tools do what they want for them and it works. And the funny thing is, there's two types of owners out there. The ones that I guess they don't mind holding up their own workforce if they're not available. Like, in other words, say they go take time off, but there are pieces of information in their head that they need to have extracted, but they can't. So they hold back certain work lines while they're gone. That's one. And then the other one doesn't mind being called to action constantly to keep the work flowing, even when they want to be unavailable. Am I talking to anybody right now? That's why I wanted to say, day 10, this is the protocol that you need. You need to have some sort of outline of how you use the tools, which is the technology, in your business. This is how you get off the tools, is you got to figure out why you're implementing them and why you would want to use new ones. Like, why would you want to use Slack over email? Or if you're trapped in Microsoft 365, why would you want to use Teams over email? And there's a million reasons, okay? And it has to do with, like I said, in a chat-based communication protocol, application, platform, whatever environment, people can see you read stuff. People can see when you're there and when you're not. Email is like sending a memorandum to a silo. And here's the best part. And this is like, I will always throw email under the bus because I fucking hate it. Because I know I've watched people's behavior with it too long to not hate it. Because it's a disruptor, man, like a negative disruption, okay? Here's a good example. And I'll stop here because I'm at 12 minutes, but I'm just saying, if you don't forget, before I go off the rails here, that outlining what the tools are for and how to engage them, you're in and you're out, we're starting something awesome here. We haven't even gotten into like Calendly and stuff like that yet, okay? So all that I'm saying is, if we can negotiate our hands off of this knee-jerk reaction to email being an easy solution to distribute and activate and delegate, okay? Then you can move forward as a business owner. Okay. And also people that are listening to me and they're in a team, you won't be a bandwidth fucking vampire anymore, right? You're going to be everybody's going to be working together in a collaborative team-based shared bandwidth way and managing expectations, right? No one likes a bandwidth vampire. So here's my thing about email, which I say a million times anyway. One, are you tracking it? Right? Like all these SaaS platforms, if they have an email account, email function associated with something that the SaaS platform does or the environment does, well, it's automated anyway, and it is being tracked. It does track when it's things that you do on the other side, like open, whatever. Now, when you use a regular email client like gmail.com or Outlook, are you tracking the emails? If you're not, and you haven't been, so everybody has. There's a lot of people that do. Okay, and if they are, they've had an advantage over you a long time, because what they've been doing is being able to tell based on your behavior. That's what these apps do now. They behavior analyze people's email read and receipt stuff. And I'm not talking send receipts. I'm just talking track. Okay, one, if you don't do that and you use email, okay, well, you're not using email properly. So you're depending on these laws that don't exist, right? Which one of those laws is the reply law? When is someone supposed to reply? When is someone supposed to read? What about reply all? Is it illegal to not reply all? Which is what I do when I go through Slack and I have everything digested properly through multiple filters, because there's AI at theautomatedmethod.com, then there's start at, and then there's Jason at. There's also help desk. All these things filter. My email is not real at the get-go. Jason at is not real. It doesn't come to my phone the same way someone wants it to. You see? That's how I want it to be for you, because it's ridiculous. Like this attention. This jump to attention from an email is crazy. It might as well be an SMS, but that's a different protocol for a different purpose. You see? Don't use email as chat. Now, so if I don't reply all, here's another one. I break the chain. So if someone replies all to me, and by automation, I just do a singular reply with filter, no reply all, uh-oh, what did I do? I guess I broke the chain. So the communication is now only communicating email to email, not the reply to all. Uh-oh, is that illegal? No! Too bad, so sad. It's a protocol, not a law. Okay? That's why it screws people that depend on it that way. It screws people that depend on email that way. Because if you don't, it screws everything up. And I fucked the thread. So what? There's a better way to do it. Now, also, what I would say is delayed send. Okay? If you're using email inside your communication protocols, like first off, you're out of office, you can turn on and off whenever you want, not just when you go on vacation or when you go on holiday or when you go on off work travel or on work travel, whatever you want to put as you're out of office. You could turn it on and off during the day multiple times because it's so easy to change the message if you're so worried about certain things, right? That's an easy way of handling email instead of checking it all the time, is being unavailable, but having something in the out of office or the unavailable, the do not disturb, whatever, that allows for an alternative to the communication instantaneous with you so that you don't stop the workflow. You see where I'm going with this, okay? Because that's what it does. Stops the workflow, because if you don't check your email 24/7 every second, depending on your role and your responsibility in your business, especially if you're the owner, well, then you could slow shit down, and that's stupid. That's what automation's for. Anyway, so there's another thing. So the delayed send. So you can schedule sends in an email. It doesn't have to be immediately released from your draft right away when you complete it and hit send. Why would you want to do that? Well, guess why? Because say, for example, in an automated world, right, you don't need to have the email delivered to the person instantaneously because they probably aren't going to read it and reply to it at the time in which they actually receive it. So what you're assuming is that everybody has their fucking inbox open 24/7 staring at it. And that's why when people play tennis, that's how you know they're inside their inbox and they're available. Instantly. And then you give an inch, take a mile. You see where I'm going with this, okay? Sure, there are channel-based emails that have to do with urgency, but we can get there. But I'm just saying, like, when you know that you could delay a send, which is what we do at the automated method for everything in all different forms and fashions, anything that's available to delay or to the next day or calendar, that kind of stuff, do it. Because here's the thing. If you go and hit it, say, for example, you compose a whole bunch of emails inside a SaaS platform that are to be dispensed the next day at 9 o'clock in the morning, there's a reason for that, right? Usually it has to do with sales, or usually it has to do with the fact that you're being courteous because it's not an ultimatum and it's not an instantaneous necessity that that person read and reply to it. So what happens is if you compose, say at like 3 p.m., 10 memos. I love it when you call an email a memo. It changes the whole game, right? If you compose 10 of whatever inside the platform or in the client, if you're one of those people that uses the client, then what happens is it may not, you could say, don't send this one till 9 a.m. the next day. Don't send this one till 4:55 p.m. right before it gets into the filter, blah, 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 blah. What you're doing is you're actually saving bandwidth on your end and their end. And the best part about it is you're managing expectations too, because you can go and do like your own as well. You can go and do something else, knowing that you have taken care of the distribution of those messages, but they don't go yet. So that person can do something else, and then you don't play tennis because they might be a tennis player. And what I mean by that is that if you can't get away from your computer or your phone for a period of deep work time, and that person replies as fast as they can to the message that you just sent, you know what I'm talking about. Do you stare at it in the inbox knowing they want to reply right away? You see what I'm saying? Because if you see it come back, like you could be finished one and you're ready to go, and then all of a sudden and then you hit send, and then you go do something else really quick for 30 seconds, and then boop, they replied back. You're like, fuck, because you could have you could delay send. There you go. Okay, I'm going over 20 minutes here. I apologize, but I got really excited here. So day 10, the beginning of this communication protocol, understanding when to engage the application environments. Don't just use email for yes, it has a function, but it's a function. It's not for tennis, and it will reduce your whole the whole workforce's bandwidth. It'll optimize everything. Okay? I didn't want to go that far off on email, but any chance I get,